Hi guys, today we'll be interviewing a top legal professional in the United Kingdom. So this person will be spilling out all of the secrets that you need to know if you want to transition into the legal space in the UK. So if you were a lawyer abroad or you want to go into the law space, this individual is going to be spilling out all of that secrets. We are in Birmingham, guys, and we're working into the room of this legal professional. Yeah, I guess this the room. This the room. Come with me. Come with me. Hi, it's been wonderful to finally meet you.
Hello.
Yeah. So how are you
Finally, we're
doing?
getting to do
Yes,
this.
yes. It's. I mean, we've been planning this for a while now, haven't
Absolutely.
we? I think since early this year.
Absolutely.
We've been planning it,
Absolutely.
yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
we finally get to do it.
Yeah, that's
and I'm
nice.
excited about it.
And just to say that we'll be respecting all the GDPR rules, we won't be mentioning names and anything. So this is just an anonymous video, guys. You'll love it. It's information packed. So let's get straight into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a dual qualified lawyer, qualified in Nigeria and the UK. I qualified in Nigeria about 15 years ago, and then I moved to the UK, and I've been qualified here for a little over 2 years now. I'm a corporate commercial lawyer. I work with a private bank in the United Kingdom.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot. So 2 years you've been qualified here, 15 years qualification in Nigeria. How did that background feel for you coming here, and that transition? How did it feel for you?
I would say it was seamless as possible, because Nigeria is a common law jurisdiction. So let me try and break that down.
Okay.
It means that we literally learned the English law back in Nigeria, in going through law school and all. It was the English law we learned. So coming here, it was just picking up on what I had learned back in Nigeria.
Okay.
And of course, because the laws are pretty much the same, it was easy to settle in, adapt, and then just pick up from there.
Wow, okay, that's great. So we'll be going into a lot, because I'm sure people are saying seamless. Somebody will be saying I've been here for a while and all of that. What were the biggest challenge, one of the biggest challenge that you faced when you were trying to transition back into the legal field in the UK?
Okay, I moved to the UK about 6 years ago. At the time I came, it wasn't the JAPA period.
Yeah.
So we didn't have too many lawyers around at the time, unlike now that people have come in, done their masters. So I think one major challenge I faced at the time was getting somebody to actually mentor me, or somebody who would walk the path I wanted to walk. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
But thank God for technology, thank God for social media these days. What I did at the time was I went on LinkedIn and began to search for Nigerian lawyers who had moved here and had qualified. And I reached out to, if I remember correctly, I think about 50 of them at the time, just sending messages to them to say, oh, your profile inspires me. I want to learn from you. What did you do to transition here in the UK? Out of the 50, maybe just about 3 responded. Interestingly, one booked a 1-hour session with me just to talk to me about what she did when she moved here to the UK. And I recall that one thing she said at the time was, it won't be easy. That I needed in her words, she said, you need a copious amount of patience. And I think I took that on board and I ran with it. The other 2 people that responded to me, we're still friends till today. We still compare notes. So transitioning here was basically, I won't say smooth, but with the help of people online, because I didn't have anybody that I knew one-on-one. It was just people I reached out to online, and they were very helpful.
That was really brave, and that word that she said, you needed that, and you ran with it.
Absolutely.
and the whole process. So yeah, in terms of Africans, so we know many Africans that train lawyers, they feel lost when they get here. So what is that thing that you would tell somebody to take that person that is a lawyer just one thing, what would you tell them to take in the midst of all of the process? What would that one word be?
One word is it's hard. One word is hard. But what I would say is be open-minded. That's 2 words. But be open-minded. I would say be open-minded. And if you want me to expand it, I can speak more.
Please.
When I was living in Nigeria, I was coming to the UK and I wasn't even sure of what to expect. But I told myself that I was ready to take on opportunities, whatever it was. I didn't know what opportunities were, but I told myself I was going to take on opportunities. And when I came, the good thing about Nigeria, which we probably don't appreciate enough, is it prepares us for a lot of challenges out there.
Worst, whatever.
Yes, it prepares us. So when I was in Nigeria, I was working in a private bank. I was company secretary. I was general counsel, and I was a compliance director or compliance officer at the time. But when I moved to the UK, I realized that that's 3 different career paths. So apparently I was doing three things in one. So when I got here and I found that it was three different career paths, I had to sit down and tell myself, okay, so out of the 3, which one do you want to focus on? So do you want to go the legal route? Do you want to go the corporate governance company secretary, or do you want to be a compliance officer? Okay. So that's what I mean by be open-minded. Just now sit down and try to reinvent yourself and ask yourself, so what do I want to do now? You don't have to continue doing what you were doing in Nigeria. You can come here and decide, no, I want to go a different trajectory entirely. And it's never too late or too early to start again, or to do something new, or to rediscover yourself. So I came here and I decided, okay, what do I want to do? And I told myself I wanted to work as a company secretary. And I remember that I spoke to someone at the time and she said, company secretary, that means you're going to be sitting in boardrooms. Do you think these white people would want to see a black person in their boardroom? Do you think they will be comfortable, talking about strategy with a black person in? She said, but good thing, she said, well, I've not really seen it happen before, but you can give it a try. At least she didn't shut it. She said, well, I've not seen it happen before, but you can give it a try. And that was when my LinkedIn journey started, to see, okay, is there anybody who has done it? And I found that there were people, and I spoke to them, and I just told myself, if someone has done it, then that means it's doable. And I pursued that route, and that's how I became, company secretary. I started out as that, but I wasn't still fulfilled. I still felt there's something I still need to get my solicitor's qualification. I didn't want to just stop there, because I was telling myself, I hope it's not me taking the easy way. Because, like I said, it's a different career path to be a company secretary here. Of course, I had to write some exams, but it was not as tough as the solicitor's exams. So, by and large, be open-minded.
Be open-minded.
Yes.
Be open-minded. That's great. And I take from what you just said, in Nigeria, we do a lot. Back home in Nigeria, I used to recruit, I used to train, I used to, solve the ER issues. I used to do a lot of things in HR. But here, I'm just doing ER.
That's just one.
That's just one aspect of it. But, when they call me for interviews, I go with that experience that I've got in Nigeria. And they're like, oh, you're really grounded. Yeah, so that's really, really, that's a brave step that you took there. And you challenged yourself. You must be a daring person. So now our next question is, can you break down the legal options that are available in the UK, right? For somebody that wants to change from abroad, what are those options that are available?
Okay, I think I already touched on some of it.
Yes, you're correct.
Yes, so if you want to go the solicitor's route, you can write the exams.
Okay.
It won't be easy, but it is doable.
Yeah.
You can be a data governance officer.
Okay.
You go into all of the GDPR that you talked about earlier.
Yes.
You can do data, and data is the new gold. Everyone is moving in that direction. So you can do that. I mean, it just entails looking at the data protection laws, and so it's something that a lawyer who has transitioned from Nigeria can consider. Okay. You can be a compliance officer. Okay. A lawyer is typically a compliance person, because you want to ensure that rules and regulations are followed, processes and procedures are followed. So you can go into compliance. That's another angle. You can be a governance person, company secretary. You want to ensure that the companies, the board, they are managed, and processes and procedures in the companies are well governed. So those are the low-hanging fruits.
Okay.
But the sky is really the limit. There's so much a lawyer can do, because if you've qualified as a lawyer, it prepares your mind. Wow. You are empowered for a lot of things. But these areas I've mentioned are low hanging fruits, if even if I call it that myself, that a lawyer can tap into. But there's still a lot. There are so many things. Anything you can do, anything if you put your
Wow.
mind to it.
Yeah, that's true. So for those four that you mentioned, that's the low hanging fruit. I'm really I'm concerned about that because it will help somebody that wants to go into that to say, okay, as a solicitor, so your baseline is a lawyer in Nigeria. So you've done your law undergrad, you've done your law school, and maybe your NYC if you did that. So I'm coming here. What do you now need to take that ball to become a solicitor, to take that ball to be a corporate governance person and all of those things? What are the things that we will need for that?
So there are exams to be written.
Great.
For the solicitor's exams, you have to write what is called the SQE now. Thankfully, if you've worked for 2 years in Nigeria and you move here, you get an exemption from one part of the exam, and
Okay.
then you can face the second part, which is called the SQE 2.
Okay.
That SQE 2, you've got to write, I think, about 16 subjects, what
Okay.
they call modules here. You write that, and then you follow some other easy processes apart from writing exams. You just tick some boxes, get your certificates verified and all, and then you can qualify. That's for a solicitor. If you want to be a data protection officer, a data governance person, you have to write the CIPPE exams.
Okay.
And then the corporate governance, you can write the Chartered Governance Institute exams.
Okay.
Yes, those are the things that you can do. But one thing I would say is that this system here, experience trumps certificates.
Okay.
So even if you haven't written some of these exams, it doesn't mean that you cannot get a
Yeah.
role. Yeah, you
Yeah.
cannot get a role. As long as you can show that you have done some of these things from Nigeria, you
Yeah.
just need to tailor your CV. The
To
skills,
suit.
yes, the skills are transferable.
Yeah.
I said it earlier that Nigeria is a common law jurisdiction. So if you come here, the boardroom is the same. It's just the color of the people that are different. Yes.
Yeah.
So how you will take minutes in the boardroom is not
the
different
same.
from how you've done it in Nigeria.
Great.
If you want to do compliance, it's just the same thing as reviewing the laws, reviewing the regulations. It's not different from what you've done in Nigeria. And same as being a solicitor. There might be some nuances though that is peculiar to this jurisdiction,
Yeah.
but the foundation remains the same. How you would review a legal document is the same. How you would use LexisNexis and some of those resources is the same. You just need to learn the nuances.
Yeah.
So for me, I think for a lawyer coming here, it's more beyond the education. It's more about how you're able to apply yourself and show that you've got the experience and you can do it. And then you can pick up those other nuances along the way. But the bottom line is, I've got skills that are transferable. No knowledge is useless. All that you learned in Nigeria is
Very
not
true.
lost. You can bring it here and actually harness it. And I dare say that my first role that I got here, I hadn't even gotten these qualifications that I talked about. I hadn't done my corporate governance exams. I hadn't done the solicitor's exams. I just got the role based on my experience from Nigeria. I tailored my CV to say, oh, I did governance in Nigeria. And they asked me questions at the interview and I was able to answer. And when I got into the organization, all I just needed to do was look at their templates, how they, write their minutes, how they review some of the policies, and just tailor what I was now going to be doing to suit that. So it's really not about, yes, qualification, you need those because you need it to actually show that, you need it to, what's the word now? You need those qualifications to actually, there's a word I'm looking for, to show that
show that you've got that experience.
Yeah, you've got the skills, you've got the knowledge.
Yeah.
Yes, but experience would always trump
It
qualification here in the UK.
It will do. You're very correct. Very, very correct. Yeah, let's go to the next question. We've touched on it a little bit. So if you can just tell us a little about it. Are there specific skills and experiences or qualification, right, from back home that can help somebody succeed? So those skills, those experiences. And I know, like you said, 15 years experience. So somebody else will say, I only have 1 year experience, I only have 2 years experience.
So one skill that is very key when you come into the UK and then you begin to work in the corporate sector, whether as a solicitor or as a data protection or whatever, is that you have to actually be able to show that you are teachable. Yes, because how we do things in Nigeria is completely different.
Extremely.
Yes. So you've got to show that you're actually teachable. You can pick up things very quickly.
Yeah.
You have to also show that if depending on what you do, confidentiality is very key.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be the kind of person who runs your mouth.
Yeah.
You know, you will lose jobs here. And then you have to be determined. I'll say being resilient and being determined. You'll get a lot of no's on the way.
You will too.
So don't all that I've said, don't take it to mean that it was just smooth. I remember when I was applying for my first role, before I got my first role, I probably threw in about 150 applications
Wow.
before I got one.
Yeah, I think so. I think I
Yeah.
should have done that too
Yeah,
myself.
so maybe I should
Yeah.
put that in so that it doesn't look like, oh, it was just all smooth. I just applied and then I got the job.
Yeah.
And like I said, at the time I came, there wasn't even the JAPA. So we didn't have as much people as we have now.
No.
So you're probably going to get a lot more no's now. And it doesn't also mean that you can't get your first job when you put in your first application.
Yeah. You can't just be one of those lucky people.
Yes. But like I said, you need patience. Just keep applying. Sometimes you're going to get a no. It's not on you. It's probably because of several other factors. Sometimes they've recruited somebody in-house.
Yeah.
They just put the application out there.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they would rather somebody
that got that experience in the UK.
In the UK. Yeah. So it's to do with a lot of things. Yeah. So you need patience. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Yes, don't give up. Keep applying. Keep trying. You just need one foot in the door, and it begins to open several doors up to you. So you need patience, you need resilience, you need to be determined, you need to also be friendly and observant. So you're coming into the workforce, maybe in the UK for the first time. One thing I did was I observed a lot. Yes. I did less of talking. I just wanted to understand how they did things. I wanted to see the boardroom language.
Yeah.
The corporate
language of people, those unspoken communication.
Absolutely. People in C-suite, how they carried themselves. I wanted to see how it's done around here. I wanted to see the kind of registers, the kind of words they would use. It wasn't because I didn't know. I had book knowledge.
Yeah.
But I needed to I needed to know what was on the field. I needed to know the nuances, how people did their things there. I went to I remember that, they would, how people do team gatherings and everything.
Yeah, pod days, away days,
absolutely.
And all that.
Sometimes it wasn't convenient, but I went there because I wanted to see people outside of the workspace, how they related. Yeah. And then it's easy for people to let their guards down when they're in such places. So I wanted to see how they spoke, the things they talked about, and guess what? Some of those decisions are made in those pubs.
Yeah. Rather than in the main office.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you need to actually be ready to learn. It's very important. Be ready to learn. Be a team player too. Don't go there feeling like, oh, I've got PhD from Nigeria. You guys.
Yeah. I get that a lot. Especially in the HR space. You hear somebody say, "Oh, I have 2 masters. I have 3 masters."
No, those things don't count here.
Those things don't really count. And also, not just that they don't count, it doesn't even sell you. I think let your work speak for you before you blow your trumpet. Absolutely. And I know that it's good to blow your trumpet, guys. Don't take it wrong, but let your job speak for you. Let people then go and check you out and say, she's got 3.
Yes.
That's why she has this experience.
Yes.
That's why she talks the talk, and that's why she walks the talk, because she has those experiences. Really, really correct. Yeah. Thank you so much. So we've got another question. You'll be glad to know that we've just got 2 more questions to go. Yeah. So how important is networking, right? How important is networking, mentorship, and even volunteering going to help somebody into that door? I know you said something about LinkedIn, and you were would I say lucky, or were you fortunate to get those 3 people come back to you? But it was also your resilience. So how important is networking aside from LinkedIn, your friendships and your friends, your brothers or whatever? What are those people going to help you do in terms of mentoring you? Do you have to volunteer or do an internship? How does that work in the legal space?
So let me start with volunteering. For volunteering, I would say if you're trying to get your foot in the door and you're not getting opportunities, it's not a bad thing to do. You can volunteer just to get experience on your CV. Yeah. So if you've got time, if you've got the capacity, please by all means volunteer. Okay. I didn't volunteer when I came because
it's all right.
I didn't volunteer when I came because I had a toddler at the time. So there was no way I was going to be able to juggle that. So my husband was working full time and then I had to stay at home. And then, so I didn't volunteer, but I know people who have volunteered and it's gotten them experiences on their CV. And some even volunteer and they get converted where they have volunteered
Yeah.
into full staff,
Full-time role,
yes,
yeah.
and then they get paid for it. So please, no experience is ever useless. Volunteering is good. If you can do it, do it.
Yeah.
Talking about mentoring, I could never talk about this enough. There are some mistakes that you won't have to make if you've got mentors,
Great.
because they would help you. You will stand on their shoulders and be able to see farther than you would have been able to see on your
On your
own.
own.
Yes. So mentoring is very key. But beyond mentoring, I think one that we probably don't even talk about a lot is sponsorship. You need
Okay.
sponsors. You need people who will speak for you in rooms that you don't have access to.
Hmm.
People who would say, I know this person, have worked with this person is good. I think people who will recommend you for positions, people who will
Yeah.
recommend you for opportunities,
Yeah.
because they have, seen
Seen your
you.
work.
Yes, they've seen your work, they've seen you do things. And sometimes they just think this person has capacity. This
That
person
they don't
has,
even know they've
yes,
got
yes, they've
potentials.
got potential. I think this person can do it. And they, push you forward for opportunities.
Yeah.
But going back to mentoring is actually very important if you must go far, like I said earlier. For mentors, they help you, talking about capacity, they help you actually bring out diamond from the rough. Sometimes
Charles
you
in
don't
you.
even know, you don't even recognize that you've got the potential. Mentors would help you pull it out. And sometimes mentors are the ones who will challenge you and say you can do
You're
this,
correct.
even when you feel like
I
I
can't. I'm
can't,
tired.
or you're going through some imposter syndromes. They're
Yeah.
the ones who will say, no, you can do it. I believe you can do it.
Yeah.
And then they would hold your hand through the
Through that
process.
process.
So you definitely need mentors on
Great.
this journey.
Great.
Yes. And then networking is also very key. Some opportunities will not be out there on LinkedIn. They will not be on Indeed. Yeah, it will just be somebody who knows that they are recruiting in that company. And then, of
They'll just
course,
say, yeah, submit your
yes, they
CV
tell
there.
you submit your CV. And then sometimes because somebody in-house is referring them and they probably know the capacity of the
Of
person
that person
in-house,
that
they
is
know that
referring.
the person will not refer somebody who is not competent. It just you can leverage on that, and then your CV gets considered from the multitude of CVs.
Very correct. Very correct. So that's fantastic. Oh, thank you so much. So looking back now, what's that one piece of advice that you're going to give to a younger self of you? So let's say a younger self of you is coming into the UK in 2025. What's that piece of advice you're going to give to that person to help them rebuild their career back into that law dream, beautiful job that they've always done back in Africa?
I would say impossibility is nothing. You can be anything you want to achieve if you put your mind to it.
Great.
And then maybe I would also add that failure does not define you. Even if you fail, pick up yourself again and keep going.
Yeah.
It only ends when you stop trying.
Yeah.
Keep trying, keep going. The sky is the starting point.
Wow, that's beautiful. It's been fantastic speaking with you. It's like you've been pouring out your mind, pouring out yourself into this interview and just helping people. Hi guys, so we've gotten to the end of this video. It was just like I shouldn't stop this video because when I was listening to her, it's like she's also talking to me. I'm not a lawyer. I don't want to be a lawyer. But you can also pick some things from somebody, whether you want to be a lawyer or you don't want to be a lawyer. So she's been fantastic. So if you know a lawyer, if you know anybody that's been struggling to get into the law firm, we're talking to somebody that sits in the boardroom. So you understand why we're being hush about it all. Yeah, great. So if you want to be a lawyer, you know somebody that wants to be a lawyer, that wants to sit in high places, loving and doing what they love to do, send this video to them. Click the subscription button. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share with your friends. Until we meet in our next one, bye.